How's it going, everyone? It's Than from Advanced Reef Aquarium. We test out a lot of different foods at our sister company Tidal Gardens, especially ones pertaining to coral health. This particular food we're checking out today is the LPS formula by Coral Frenzy. Like most pellet foods, Coral Frenzy has various seafood-based meals, but also contain vegetable matter from both land and sea, such as garlic and various wheat products. This shows a little bit in the pellets themselves. It appears that there's two different types of pellets, orange ones and green ones. Unless they're just colored that way for fun, I would guess that the orange ones contain more of the meat products, while the green ones contain more spirulina. Although this is an LPS formula, we'd like to see how a broad spectrum of corals react to feeding. You never know when you're going to find a particular food that corals like to eat. For example, one of the most successful coral foods we've come across was actually developed to feed hatchling fish and not coral at all. As expected, this acanthophilia gobbles them up hungrily, but then again, this type of coral probably would eat hot dogs. They're not exactly picky. This Cyphastria, however, is a coral that not too many people even try to feed. It has very small polyps that seem to react to the light dusting of food, but on closer inspection, it does not seem to make any real effort to grab and consume the food. Again, this is not too surprising because Cyphastria are not known to eat a lot of things. Moving on to other non-LPS, let's take a look at zoanthids and Paleothoa. In my experience feeding corals, zoanthids are some of the most finicky. There's a lot of species to species variation, but more often than not, they reject feeding. The first colony we tried reacted to the food, but it's unclear if they really ate it or just shrunk away. The other colonies, however, didn't exactly close and didn't exactly appear to eat it either. Here is a closer look. The mouths don't seem to be taking in the food, and this is with the pumps off. Any slight water movement would have dislodged the food long ago. Paleothoa, on the other hand, have always been very active feeders. This Paleothoa grandis makes short work of the Coral Frenzy. Okay, let's now move on to some actual large polyp stony corals. After all, this is an LPS pellet food, and it's only fair to see how their target audience responds. First up are a couple of Blastomussa wellsii. These guys clearly waste no time gobbling them up. Next up are the Euphyllia corals, namely hammers, torches, and frog spawn. Historically, these are corals that one would assume eat large amounts given their shape and long active tentacles. In my experience, it's exactly the opposite. Hammers especially tend to reject food of all types. In our little taste test here, the hammer did not eat the pellets. However, the torch coral that we tried afterwards did. Even watching the video can be a little deceptive because sometimes Euphyllias actually ingest different pellet foods, but they end up spitting them out later. Okay, last coral for this video. I've got here an Acanthastria bowerbanki. This coral had a very positive feeding response to the food. It almost looks like it changes color as it feeds. It's very cool. That pretty much does it for this video. If you have a tank with a lot of LPS, the Coral Frenzy food may be something worth trying out. I'm a big proponent of feeding corals, and we will be making use of these pellets for sure. If you like these videos, please don't hesitate to subscribe to this channel. If you missed our last video on calcium reactors, check out the link here. Lastly, if you want to buy some Coral Frenzy, take a look at it on advancedreefaquarium.com. Thanks again guys, until next time.